Welcome back to Breakfast Central. Former Senator and Labour Party gubernatorial candidate in Imo State, Athan Achonu, has called for sweeping constitutional and economic reforms to strengthen Nigeria's democracy and unlock inclusive development. Speaking at a press briefing in Abuja on the state of the nation, the former federal lawmaker welcomed the Supreme Court judgment on local government autonomy, but demanded that INEC take over council elections to end what he describes as a mockery of state electoral commissions, urging civic groups to hold leaders accountable for the use of council allocations.
On the economy, the ex-lawmaker faulted the state governors over the handling of subsidy removal proceeds, pushing instead for a constitutional framework that channels more funds directly to local governments. He also called for the constitutional zoning of the presidency among Nigeria's 6 geopolitical zones, starting with the southeast and northeast, yet to produce a president since 1999. Joining us for today's discussion is the well-known speaker, former lawmaker rather, and former governorship candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 elections in Imo State, Senator Athan Achonu. Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning.
All right, you've described state-run council polls as a charade. So let's talk about what constitutional changes you're proposing and how do lawmakers build a consensus around it?
I didn't hear you very well.
I'm asking what constitutional changes you are proposing and how lawmakers can... But let's first start with the constitutional changes you're proposing, and then we can go into how lawmakers can build a consensus around it.
Building the consensus depends on this president has shown capability in pushing anything he wants through the National Assembly. So, and then he is highly interested in local government autonomy. So I think it won't be difficult to have consensus on this, my proposals, and which are definitely align with the president's intentions as well and his own proposals. So it won't be difficult to push it through, to have consensus. I don't think so.
On some of the proposals you've made, you described state-run council polls as a charade, looking at the state independent electoral commissions. And what we've seen in the recent past is always winner takes it all situation, and most likely the party in power in the states. And you've called for INEC to take over responsibility of the state independent electoral commissions. Don't you think INEC at this point is already overburdened with organizing by-elections, staggered elections, and also it's the presidential governorship and legislative assembly? Can it onboard local governments to its already daunting task and responsibilities?
I don't think INEC is overburdened, because this election cycle, it comes after every 4 years. Yeah, so this can be staggered. The elections can be staggered. It's not a problem. It's just that they are not thinking about it. Once they think about it, the solution is there. It's very simple. You have this one this year, local government election. You have the other one this year. You have the other one next year. You can do it. You can do so many things. But the most important thing is that local government election is the most important election. That 10th year of governance is the most important one. Because if you look at how Nigeria is structured, in so many states of this federation, there are so many minorities who this local government autonomy will protect their interests, who are being discriminated against by so many governors in various states of the federation. Now, then if you look at this insecurity, I started raising alarm. Immediately, the Abia state governor won a Supreme Court judgment, and this local government system changed. The autonomy was taken away from them. Criminality started. I raised alarm on AIT. I challenged it. I told them that every councillor, elected councillor, knows everybody in his ward. And then if this criminality will not exist, because they will be able to identify who is who, So when these criminals come, especially when Boko Haram started, I raised alarm, I shouted, nobody listened. Now, I'm so happy that this president has done it, but he should go further, step further, because without this INEC conduct, this thing is a sham. This thing governors are doing all over the place. And then there's another thing. This is the only arm of government that we can hold accountable. So that's why I'm suggesting that bulk of the money should go to them. And then when we hold them accountable, when you have properly elected local government chairmen, you will now have properly elected House of Assembly members. Because these chairmen who come from different parties will be independent minded. So that when a House of Assembly member is not doing well, he can be easily recalled. When he's not probing the government, the state government, they can be easily recalled. You understand? So that is why we don't have any true democracy. And then when we now have proper House of Assembly members who are independent minded, we can now checkmate the National Assembly as well, who can checkmate the federal government. We have, these things are being created for us, but we're not handling it well. The structure is not correct. Once we correct the structure, we'll have a proper democracy. That's what I believe.
Okay, permit me to take you back. I know you're talking about insecurity and so on, but before we focus on insecurity and also look at subnationals, similar time in September 2024, you had made a statement that the people no longer decide who they want to vote for, but it's the judiciary. Do you still have faith in Nigeria's judiciary or judicial system? Do you still believe that people should actually put their faith in them, knowing fully well that they will do what is right?
Nobody has faith in anything in this country anymore. That's why I made a call for that conference yesterday. Now, the judiciary is a problem. Legislature, a problem. Government, everybody's complaining. But like I said, we already have structures that are supposed to protect the interest of this country. That are supposed to checkmate governance. You understand? Okay, for example, the National Assembly is supposed to be checkmating ministries. People are shouting, they use this amount to do this, they use that amount to do this. The structures are there. There is the BPP, Public Procurement, who should be held responsible, who will tell a contractor, if he doesn't approve an amount of money for a contract, that contract will not be awarded. They will now award contract. They will be challenging the president, abusing the contractor. Meanwhile, there are civil servants whose responsibility is to make sure that there's appropriate pricing for these projects. So there are people who can hold accountable, who we can send to jail over these things. Nobody's talking about it. Everybody's focusing on the president or the governors. So the structures are there, and then we can't challenge them, because the governors, for example, control who goes to the Senate, who goes to the House of Reps, who goes to the House of Assembly, because of this autonomy they control over local government. Once they cease to control that, you will see through democracy. See what was happening during Obasanjo. If you're a governor and you want to win an election, you will go and appeal to the people properly. This time, nobody campaigns. When I was running for election, my governor, I was the only one who was campaigning. Nobody campaigned, because they'll just sit and write the results. So, and they'll tell you to go to court. So when we now we must start from the grassroots, get it right, move to the other level, get it right, it must be gradual. Can't be, no, unless there's a revolution. That's the only way out, unless you want to have a revolution. That's what I believe. I've looked at the problem, when everybody is screaming from, shouting, talking shop every day in Nigeria. That's what we're doing. We're not looking at the problem. How do we solve it? That's the point I want to make.
So,
start from local government autonomy. It will change. We'll begin to hold them. When we hold them, and they should be given more money, because they are the only people who. Okay, let me give you an example. There's a certain local government chairman in Lagos, Alabi. Lagos, they give Tinubu has been releasing all their monies to all the, in fact, he even created more local governments, sharing the money among all of them. Look at what that Alabi, he just handed over the other day 21 roads, 4 health centers, built some schools, equipped his local government with KK fire trucks and ambulances for the health centers. One local government chairman. So you can imagine what can happen all over Nigeria. Look at the amount of money they are getting. The humongous amount of money, there is nothing to show for it. So we must interrogate this.
What will
and then we have Nigeria. Look, we have the Labour Congress. We have all these civil societies. Nobody is talking. Nobody is doing anything. Student organizations. I used to be involved in the election of Labour leaders before, and man's lead, so that we choose the correct people. But when they became politicized, when they became transactional, I just stopped. But now we have to take up this challenge. And Tinubu has done what he can do for us by making sure we have local government autonomy. We must make sure that these local government get their monies directly from FAC. They must be represented at FAC. They must obey this. If they don't do it, my state, no, the local government chairman don't get any money at all. Highest, they just get salaries. Where is the money? And then you cannot, as a local government chairman, move the money belonging to that local government for a development in another local government or another in a city that has no business with you without the people who own that money agreeing for it to go there. That's what the governors are doing. They'll come, you sign up, say for this joint project. Joint project where? It's not local government project, it's state project. So use state resources to do it. Local government money must be spent in that local government that owns it. That's what the Constitution provides. But it's not so. So this is where the problem is. And everybody is looking at the federal government, not looking at the state. So we can catch the local government chairman, jail him. Let us make sure he has financial autonomy. So at least that small money, we can account for it. And they will ask for them to be given more. That's the first step.
Okay. I wanted to still ask, just to push back a little on the conversation about local government. I know you said that there aren't as many civil societies that are speaking, and you made reference to what it was like in your time. I'm asking again, what will accountability look like in terms of local government? Supreme Court can pass a decision in July 2024 granting autonomy, but the implementation of it, what will the picture of it look like? What will accountability look like? And what would you say to those who say that there are fears that the state governors might manipulate the process, and those who say the Constitution does not entirely insulate local governments from, doesn't entirely grant local government autonomy?
It does, actually. It's the practice. For example, a chairman cannot spend any money without the council. It's just like the way state governments are supposed to be run. But we don't have any house of assembly in Nigeria. None at all. No state house of assembly. So it's whatever the governor wants that he does. So it's the same thing in local government. But local government is the only arm that we can interrogate, challenge successfully. Okay? We should not be afraid that there are so many judges in Nigeria who have integrity, a lot of them. So it is like, Nigeria is just like the wild, wild west, like America used to be. Criminal gangs used to install governors, install police chiefs in America, judges. But journalists took up the challenge, fighting. Anything they exposed could not be covered. That's how they saved America. So we are at that point now where a governor can come appoint all the local government chairmen. They're like gangsters. Appoint House of Assembly members. They are aides. They are workers. Appoint even those who go to National Assembly. That's where we are right now as a country. Even challenge the president, threaten the president. That's what they're doing. So that they will not give him support if he doesn't work with them. That's the country is being hijacked by the Nigerian Governors Forum. And we have to recover it. And local government autonomy is the only sure way to start. There's no other way. I can bet on that.
Senator Achonu, you recently condemned an attack in Imo State, Idiato North local government area a few months ago, and security means a lot to you. You've also survived an assassination attempt yourself. Recently, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, seems to be heeding the call on this call for state police. Where do you stand in this debate? Are you for or against state police? And if you're for state police, what sort of model would you propose so as to insulate it from abuse and excesses from governors?
Senator, can you hear us?
Hello, Senator, did you get my question? Okay. I'll repeat my question, sir. I said we now want to talk about security, and you recently condemned an attack in Idiato North local government area that unfortunately led to the loss of some lives in Imo State. And we've seen that the problem of insecurity permeates different regions in Nigeria. And there's been a recent call for the introduction of state policing, which the president echoed recently. What's your take on state policing? Where do you stand in this debate? Okay, we seem to be having some connection issues with Senator Athan Achonu. Hopefully, we'll get back to him soon. But interesting conversation so far on local government autonomy. And we've often said it here so many times. It's the closest to the people. And it's unfortunate that the common man only sees Abuja and the federal government has been responsible for the issues, their personal problems. But
Yeah.
it shouldn't be that way. And it's giving governors and local government chairmen a free pass.
Yeah, I mean, two takeouts out of many things that the former senator said. One is that he applauded President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for ensuring that he pushed for the autonomy, state autonomy in terms of local government. And while applauding that, he also highlighted the fact that it's not just in ensuring that there is local government autonomy, it's in the implementation.
Yes.
And he used the words, that's why you have, things like mafia or so, gangsters appointing themselves. Sadly, he's not far-fetched from what we've seen, especially the realities that we've seen on ground. We did see what took place. River State is just a clear case. While we say that, we've seen instances where
everywhere,
where it's just a case of saying this is, and then we saw the picture. Olive was celebrating. Not permitted to use the word.
Which of them?
The local government
council. No, it wasn't me. It was when guys were celebrating. He was very excited about it.
You could tell that the caps were already prepared, and even when they were wearing, it looked like helmets.
And you're wondering, are these people really going there to serve the people?
And you could tell that many of them even looked confused. They didn't even know why they were there, but they just had the hats on. And I did hear that even some of them were asked, how did you win? And they just said, well, I don't care as long as I'm here. And it's just exactly what we're seeing from the subnationals.
So we need to do better in the quality of governance and also the followership. They need to be interested in politics. So you don't end up appointing people who have no idea of what governance is, making decisions that would affect your life in many ways. So people need to start looking at politics literally as a matter of life and death, and as a matter of survival and utmost importance. Because you can't sit in your house, you don't vote, you don't participate, you don't care who is elected, and then many years down the line, you start complaining about the quality of governance and leadership you're getting.
I agree with you that there needs to be a lot more involvement. There are people who want to change a lot in the political space, but want to change a lot from the outside. And the truth is, yes, you can change from the outside, but there's so much that you can do standing on the sidelines. Being involved in the process is a huge part. When people complain about not getting certain qualities, because you have to choose from the lot you're presented to. And if we don't have more people involved, how do we have more options of people to choose from? So for those of you who are considering and thinking about getting involved in politics, this is to encourage you that we need more options. And for us to get more options, we need you to be interested and involved in the process. We can't just criticize from the sidelines and expect the change to happen.
And being active citizens too. I mean, being law-abiding citizens, performing civic responsibilities, you know, attending public hearings, giving feedback to local government, you know, putting them on their toes, keeping them honest. We also have a role, the office of the citizen. But I believe we have a re-established connection with Senator Achonu. Welcome back, sir. We're happy to have you back. But let's talk about security. It's something that is very personal and dear to you. Recently, you condemned the attack in Idiato North local government area of Imo State, where there was levels of there was insecurity there, and you also survived an assassination attempt. We've seen Mr. President propose the establishment of state policing as a panacea to insecurity in the country. What's your take on the state policing debate? Are you for or against the introduction of state policing?
I am for creation of local policing, which includes local governments and state governments. If not, I already said earlier that the governors have hijacked the country. You can't give them police unless you change the structure. We will achieve full local government autonomy. And by the way, the Senate just passed a resolution trying to make them members of FAC. The next thing is to insist that they own their own bank accounts and control all their money. No governor should touch any local government money. We'll start from there. Now, if you allow state police without local government police, they should have boundaries, like you have in other developed societies. Local policing, every crime is local. So, like for example, let me give you an example in Imo State. Because of the high level of insecurity, and after they burnt the police stations, I offered with my resources to rebuild the police stations, 3 of them. I brought money. I even brought money. I met the Inspector General of Police. I brought money to fix the APCs, 9 of them. They ate my money. They fixed only 1. I don't know what happened. Up to today, I don't know what happened to that. I shouted on TV, screamed, nothing happened. Till today, none of those police stations have been repaired. I even bought land. I brought the commissioner of police to my village. Take land, see where build police station here. I have the contractor I paid up to now has my money. One of the contractors, nothing. So this is intentional. What the governors are doing, my state, for example, is to create instability so that there will be no voting. They will write results. That's all they are doing. Nothing else. Most of this insecurity, Abacha said that if insecurity exists, is it 1 week or 2 weeks that government is involved? Okay, how can you have security when the governor is controlling everything in the state? How? It's not possible. You can't. So local government autonomy, this president is very, very wise. Very, very wise. He's a governor. He gives his money to all his local government chairmen. He doesn't touch their kobo. He even adds from the internally generated revenue to them. That's why he discovered the importance of local government autonomy. That's why. So we must assist him to achieve it. So state police, fine, but it must be. You must have local government police. These forest guards that the president introduced will work with local government vigilantes and other security agencies in every local government. The state police will have their own level of police in the state. Federal will have their own level of, like you have the ABI, state police, and sheriffs in the US.
All right, Senator.
That's the only way it can work.
Senator.
If not, I won't go to Imo State again if the government is controlling both the police and the criminals.
All right, Senator Athan Achonu, let's go on a very quick break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation. Please stay with us.
Thanks so much for staying with us here. We'll still continue the conversation with Senator Achonu, who joins us live. Thank you so much for staying with us. Quickly, we've touched on security a little. But I just want to quickly ask, what's your take on the paramilitary? I mean, we've seen Abuja and the likes. Do you think this is the right way to go? And what do you think is still feeling insecurity, especially in the southeast?
I can hear you very well.
Okay, I'm wondering if you can hear me now. My question is, what's your take on what's fueling insecurity in the southeast? And what do you make of the likes of the paramilitary like Abuja and the likes?
All this, there is a place called, I live in Imo, I live in my village and Abuja. So I've not been to the rest of the southeast in a long time. In my state, there is a police unit called the Tiger Base, owned solely by the governor. In fact, one of his aides controlled the police people there. They are the ones who shot at me openly during the last election, tried to assassinate me, and I raised the alarm. Nothing was done. They are still there doing their work. So most of these insecurities caused by government themselves. Government is behind all the insecurity in Imo State. You know, so there was a video that was going viral. One of them called Gentle. He made a video. One of these so-called, he said he's a Biafran, and he's been trying to defend himself that he's not behind most of these killings. And the boy came out and said that one chieftain and the governor tried to make him to assassinate me. The video has gone viral. It's everywhere on YouTube. But he refused. That's why they're attacking him. That's why they tried to kill him. And up till now, my cousin, who was my agent, local government agent at in the last election, we have not found him. He's missing. Both his car and his body has not been found since the election till today. You know, so government is behind. Let us just have that financial autonomy for local governments, create this local government police. You understand? So we can challenge government to an extent where we can. And once we get the state assemblies right, we can get the governors right. And without local government autonomy, we can't do any of this. That's the key. President Bola Tinubu knows what he's doing. Oh, that's the key, because he practiced local government autonomy in Lagos State, so he saw the benefits. Like I told you, one of his chairmen, Alabi, what he was able to do. You know, please, Nigerians should make sure that we support this president with local. That's the solution. We can't arrest Tinubu. We can't arrest any governor. So we can arrest local government chairmen, and we can interrogate commissioners and ministers. So we can get Nigeria right if we do the right things. That's my take.
I think my final question, away from security and insecurity, would be your take on the ADC. The ADC as a political party and the agenda that they have to kick out the ruling party.
Just to add, are you still with the Labour Party?
I'm not. I don't know what ADC is. I'm not a member of ADC. I've stopped this practice. This practice of jumping from one party to the other should stop in Nigeria. If you're in a political party and something is going bad, help to change it. Help to make it better, so that we can make progress as a nation. All this jumping from one party to the other, merging and what are you merging for? Okay, look at all the people in ADC. They have been in government, and our government, from the last time we had any government, for example, that every Nigerian benefited, was during Obasanjo. You could speak Yoruba there, you could speak Igbo, you could speak outside in government house. Immediately, Yar'Adua came, Katsina Mafia took over. Jonathan came, his people, South took over. When Buhari came, it became worse. And look at what we have in government now. You understand? So, because the other people are not benefiting, they're angry, other tribes, they're angry. It's just a tribal thing, or the religious thing. Tribal and religious, that's what Nigeria is all about. So I don't believe in that. So let us focus. I'm not focusing on elections now. And that was the first thing I said, that we shouldn't hit up the polity. If a particular tribe, that's the only way we can get it right, zoning, constitutionalizing zoning. If a particular zone is having the presidency. We should allow that zone to finish 8 years. We should make it, change it in the constitution, make it constitutional, so that there are all this fighting, all these things, and they are distracting governance. The man is not concentrating. He's now trying to see how he can come back. He wants to do. He told us that it was his turn, and his turn is 8 years. So you want to come and take it from him now, after the way he won this thing? Fine, anybody from his zone can aspire to replace him if he's not doing well. So let us give him time to do well or not do well. Let us face governance. That's what I want to say again. It must be constitutionalized zoning, so that all this fighting, all this merger, all these things should stop. People should stay in their party and fix their party. And if they have bad leadership, they change it. When they remove Ganduje, I thought they will also remove the chairmanship of Progressive Governors Forum, change it, get more qualified people to head that body, so that these people can start respecting the APC. But it wasn't done. But I'm just watching the president.
All right. Well, I want to say thank you so much for joining us, former gubernatorial candidate of the 2023 elections, and also a former senator, lawmaker. Thanks for joining us. We look forward to speak with you again, hopefully in the near future.
Thanks for your time, Senator Achonu.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right.
Thank you.